Good morning, everybody. Got a little bit distracted there before the show started. Sam here, Night at People's TV. It's Monday, and we're going to kick off what's probably going to be another massive week for Manchester United. Last week, we got hit with the great news about Leny Yoro. That was on, I think, Wednesday morning's live show. Then he's a Manchester United player by, Friday? And then he's making his debut, on Thursday, and then he's making his debut on Saturday. That's all happened. And now this week, we're speaking about De Ligt, we're speaking about Ugarte, we're speaking about Richard Rios, the Colombian midfielder Man United getting linked with. We're speaking about Jadon Sancho and PSG after a report this morning that suggested Man United are close to agreeing, I say Man United, PSG are close to agreeing personal terms. There's a lot going on at Manchester United right now. I've tried to cover it as much as I possibly can. I think I've done pretty well, but there is so much happening, and I've probably got about, kid you not, I reckon about 40 to 50 tabs open this morning to try and cover all of the news. And I'll do my best. And of course, we'll speak about the game against Rangers. We'll speak about the pre-season, by the way. The lads are flying out on Wednesday, I think. We play Arsenal at 1 a.m. on Sunday morning. The season's kicking into gear properly. And it was a good game against Rangers. I enjoyed it. Now I'm going to run through everything. Let's have a quick look at who's here from the Mod Gang this morning. Gungshi, good morning to you, my man. Carl, you're there as well. Anuj, you're there too. Josh, I can see you. T, I saw you at the start of the show. And Alex, good morning to all of you. Member Gang, we've got Fizz, we've got JC. How you doing, buddy? Neville, we've got Tuntun, we've got Matt, DJ Dino, Sam Harrison, Barista, and Teresa. Good morning to all of you. And on Facebook, we have Andy and Alex and Tim. Good morning to all of you. Joseldo, Edred, and Christopher. Whoa. Prepare yourselves. Get ready for another week. Are we going to get another little Ornstein bomber mid-show? Probably. That was quite fun last week. We got that with the Leny Yoro stuff. Yeah, Varane's gone to Como. Honestly, no matter where you look, there is Manchester United news worthy of discussion. Now, to kick off the show, I want to have a quick moan. This sort of thing happens every single week, but it's just another example of it. And it's the reason that it's important to keep pointing these things out is so that awareness grows among United fans. Because United fans might read that title and just share it angrily on social media. Ten Hag this, Ten Hag that. And then all you got to do is read the article. So this is what the quote says at the top. Only Pep Guardiola has done better than me in the last 2 years. This is what actually Ten Hag said. Of course, I feel stronger. This club didn't win trophies before I came for 6 years. In 2 years after Guardiola, we won the most trophies in English football. So we are in a strong position. That's been taken to Erik Ten Hag saying only Pep Guardiola has done better than me in 2 years. The fact that they put that there, put the colon, it just really makes it look like Erik Ten Hag has said that. I mean, he absolutely has not. Again, just a little, I always try to point these things out so people become more aware of them. And I think awareness is the most important thing you can have, because then people will start reading into the facts and looking past the headlines. Just one little moan there at the start of the show. But we should be kicking off this show. Let me sit there, get comfy. Kicking off this show by speaking about the game against Rangers. All right, Gunky, I see you there, dude. Gifting 5 memberships. And I'm not going to get bored of this one yet. Leny. I didn't have time to update all the sound this morning because it was a busy, busy morning. I'll get that done tomorrow. But the game against Rangers at the weekend, right? After the Rosenborg game, which was crap, it was awful. We played against a team who was mid-season, clearly a lot fitter than us. It was our first game back after a week's worth of training, and we just looked really disconnected. There wasn't anything really positive to take from that game. Rangers, on the other hand, kind of a flip reverse. Real positives to take from the first half, real positives to take from the second half. 2 completely different teams. First team, more senior in the first half. Leny Yoro making his debut. Ahmad started. Sancho started. Casemiro started. Collier started. Yoro was, I think Ahmad was probably the star of the show. But Yoro was really, really impressive. And in the second half, you got Joe Hugo with an outrageous finish. Oyedele playing well in midfield. Thought Harry and Mass was quite good. There was a lot of positives from both halves of that game. Now, of course, the focus, I think rightly should be on Leny Yoro. I did a video yesterday on his debut. If you wanted to check that out, make sure you go and do it. Of course, he only played 45 minutes. And the reason I did that video was a follow-up to the video we did last week when Leny Yoro was signed. And I'm just kind of pointing out the fundamentals that we saw in that game that I spoke about. I was impressed with his progressive passing. That wasn't really one of the... I mean, it's not that it's a weakness of his game, but it wasn't something I was highlighting as a strength of his game. But that pass there was particularly confident. Erik ten Hag spoke about him after the game, and he said this. He goes, after just one practice, it's a very mature performance. That's what we saw when we observed him. And that's kind of exactly what I described there. And I said it in that video I did. When Kobbie Mainoo came through, he just looked like he'd been there for ages. Like he played the exact same with the first team that he did with the academy. He played the exact same with England as he did with the first team. And that's kind of what Leny Yoro looked like yesterday. It didn't look like his first game. And I think that's always one of the best compliments you can give to somebody, especially considering here that week on Tuesday, and I said it in the video, on Tuesday night, Yoro decided, yeah, all right, I'm going to choose Man United. Wednesday morning, he's flying out. Was it Thursday evening? We got the announcement. Friday, he trained with the team for the first time. And then Saturday, he's making his debut. Like, what a whirlwind. And an 18-year-old moving to a different country. Like, what a whirlwind that is. So for him to perform the way he did, as composed as he was, after all of that, was really quite impressive. And this is what Yoro said after the game. He said, it was incredible. Happy with my performance. The staff make me feel comfortable. For me, it's really good. We go to America for 3 competitive games, and the team will give everything to win them. And I'm really looking forward to seeing Leny Yoro. I don't actually know yet. Anybody know in the comments? Are the players who played in Copa America and the Euros, so Martinez and Garnacho got to the final, and Kobbie and Shaw got to the final, when do they join up with the preseason? I don't actually know. Because I'm really looking forward to seeing that man playing alongside Leny Yoro. I'm really, really excited for that. Alex, I can see you there gifting 5 memberships as well. And I know I say this every week, but I reiterate it. It's awesome to see the community growing in the way that it's growing at a time when I think it should be. When United, it feels like we're coming out of the shadows. I'm really happy that we've managed to sync it all together. Because that's when fan channel should do well, when the club is doing well, and we all sort of head in the right direction. But yeah, Leny Yoro, I was dead impressed. I thought he played fantastic. And it just kind of got me excited for what's coming up next. Let me see what you're saying in the comments down here. Ryan saying, I can't wait to see Leacher. He's definitely my favourite player. I think everyone knows that, for me anyway. Back next Monday, says Gary, after the US. I don't know whether it will be after the US tour. Is it after the tour? It would seem a little bit... I mean, I don't know. But the tournament only finished on the 14th of July, 14th, 15th of July. So they're going to have to get, at least 2 weeks off. So 20... Yeah, maybe it will be towards the end. I don't quite know. I really don't know. But past Leny Yoro, and there is so much transfer news. Trust me, I'm going to get into all of that. I just wanted to have a quick overview of the weekend's game. I think Amad deserved some serious, serious stripes. Right? Tom, I see you over there as well.
Leny.
Look like Robert De Niro there. Anyway. Amad was class. Really, really good against Rangers. I thought he looked stronger. I thought he looked really confident running at a defender with pace, with power. Very, very good finish. And Erik ten Hag there, I think, sort of says it all. Because Amad's been at Man United player for like 3-4 years, isn't it? Which is kind of... Is it 3 years? Is it 4 years? I don't know how long it is. But he's 22 now. This is going to be his year. That's what it feels like. It feels... last season, he earned his stripes. He got that goal against... It's right there on the screen, actually. Got that goal in the FA Cup final. FA Cup semi-final against Liverpool. And he had a lot of injuries. But I think he proved himself and he proved his worth. And now he's way ahead of Antony in the pecking order. Garnacho's not here. He is right now our first choice right winger at the club right now. And I hope he just takes advantage of it. I think from a technical perspective, he's probably the most talented right winger that we have. And it's not to say that Garnacho is not a great player, because Garnacho is a great player, but I think Amad is a little bit more fleet-footed. He can dink past players in certain ways and just very comfortable with the ball in tight situations. Really looking forward to seeing him get the opportunities that I think he really does deserve this season. And I spoke about it in the game, but Toby Collier, I'll speak about the Sofian Amrabat stuff a little bit later in the show. But when you look at that performance from Toby Collier, and I think I've already said this, but Collier for me strikes me as a midfielder who can we look at Hannibal, and I look at Eriksson, I look at Casemiro, I look at McTominay. Potentially, those 4 midfielders could leave Man United this season, right, this summer. I could easily see Toby Collier stepping into one of those squad spots. Not to say that he's going to play loads next season, but I think he's proven himself there that he has the capability of being an option for us in midfield. And I think we need options in midfield. And I think he can be one of them, right? That's what I think so anyway. Anybody see this photo? Oh, look. One sec. There's a couple of super chats. Let me read these out. JC gifted 5 memberships as well. Good morning to everyone, man. All of you join the Discord. By the way, members, on Thursday, we're going to be doing our second Q&A. We did one a couple of weeks ago. We're going to do one every couple of weeks. Your way of just having a more informal chat to me away from the live shows. Jordan, how you doing, buddy? What are you saying? Morning, Sam and everyone. When do you think our next signing is, and who will it be? I mean, look, the way things have gone so far, I kind of would expect it this week, if I'm being honest. Remember, we agreed personal terms with Ugarte. I think that was 4 days ago. Speak about that a little bit later. Not really heard too much of an update on him. I imagine it will be the central midfielder, whoever that would be. Ugarte, of course, is the most advanced. I think a second centre-back signing will require... We need sales. We definitely need sales. Anybody see this photo? Man, people are good at spotting this sort of stuff. Rue just giving it the old watch look. That is a perfect, perfect Photoshop. And who enjoyed Joe Hugel's goal, by the way? This is what he said after the game, right, about Rude.
Been doing a few shooting drills, so he's been giving us a few tips and everything, but obviously it's massive having Rude here, especially with people like myself, young, coming up, to have him in the building, even just ask questions about it's massive.
Anyway, let me go back to that photo. Of course, we all want that to be the case, that Rude turned into Fergie. There will never be another Fergie, right? But I'm still really excited to see the impact. And I think the football that we played, and look, you can't look too much into any there was pre-seasons, I thought, was it under Van Gaal when we won every game in pre-season, then we lost the first game of the season? I don't know whether I've made that up, but I swear that's happened. Pure aura, mate. That word aura has been so... It was cool for a very, very short period of time before everyone else started using it, and now it's just dead. That word aura has 0 aura now. Got it, Brent, man. You gifted 5 memberships as well. Man, the whole gang's coming out here this morning. Big up to you. And Stevie, yeah, it was some strike by Joe. My favourite goals. Easily my favourite goals. Barring in. Full power, barring in. That's why Scholes against Villa. I think it was Villa. That's probably the best one there's ever been. Straight from the corner, volley, hit. He hit the bar so hard that when the ball went back into the net, it pushed the net up like 6 feet. Anyway, before we move on to speak about all the first team transfers, something happened over the weekend which definitely got me excited. Now, Jarrad Branthwaite, if you don't know, is a prolific goal scorer. Well, was a prolific goal scorer for Arsenal last season. In the under-18s, he scored 32 goals in 20 games, I believe. And Man United are now exploring a deal to sign him. He's 16. He's about to sign his first professional contract. Arsenal offered him terms. He said no. He's been at Carrington. And reports suggest that Man United are very much keen to get this deal done as soon as possible. And if that is done, you're damn straight I'm going to be doing a special a special video on Obi Martin. Because when it comes to academies, right, you have to get the blend of players that come through your academy. Kobe Mainu, Scholes, Giggs, all the ones back in the day, right? You have to get the blend of the best that you've got in-house and the best also domestically outside of your own academy and also the best from Europe. And we've seen that with Garnacho, Cambuela, Hannibal. There's loads of different examples. Garnacho, one of the best examples of that, of signing. I think it was what? Was it 420 grand we paid for Garnacho? Something like that? Anyway, very excited about the prospect of Chido coming in. And if he does, there's going to be a lot more people watching the... Would he play with the under-18s? I'm not even sure. But he probably played with under-21. A bit of both, I suppose. Very exciting prospect, the idea of signing him. But speaking of signings, let's get into the main part of the show, all right? Because there are so many transfers that we need to speak about. I'll speak about Brantwaite, De Ligt, Ugarte, Rios, Sancho and PSG, McTominay, Antony, and lots more. All the whiteboards are being updated. It's a busy show. Mondays are always a busier show. Let's get into it, right? And the first player we'll speak about, Jarrad Branthwaite, right? We had that down here as saying probably the max that we feel that Man United should go to is £50 million. That is how much Manchester United have bid for Brantwaite so far. Now, you've got James Ducker saying that Man United might revive a deal for Jarrad Branthwaite because of the Everton takeover that collapsed. Freakins. And I already ran through the numbers. Like, I did not realise how bad Everton's finances were. They owe 650 million to 3 different lenders. Plus, they owe over 450 million, I think, to Mashiri, who's the owner. And he's now demanded that he gets a lump sum plus annual payments. They owe so many people, so much money to so many different people who are going to record it in their own terms at their own times that it's like owing money to like 6 loan sharks at once. And the Telegraph is saying that, look, Man United might go back in. But David Ornstein, and he's kind of reiterated this multiple times, right? Multiple times. Everton are just... I don't know how they're able to stand for... I don't know the ins and outs of their finances. From the outside looking in, their finances look abysmal. And they need more money. But I don't know what the bottom lines are. Ornstein reporting that Everton, they're not going to reduce the price. And if Everton don't reduce the price, Manchester United will not sign Jarrad Branthwaite this summer. Absolutely not. And you've even got Fabrizio reporting that Everton are considering trying to give a new contract to Jarrad Branthwaite, maybe with a bigger release clause. Or, I mean, is there even a release clause in his contract? I don't know whether there is. Either way, despite the fact that Everton's finances seem awful, the suggestion is that they're going to stand firm over Jarrad Branthwaite. If that is the case, we're not going to sign him. We will move on, and Jarrad Branthwaite will probably join us next summer. It's not the end of the world. We can look at other players, such as De Ligt. Akash, I can see you there gifting 5 memberships as well, man. Thank you so much, man. Let's bring it out. Let's bring Casemiro out. It is a good morning. It is a good morning. Well, apparently not. That was awkward. Good morning. I don't know why that didn't work. Oh, well. Anyway, thank you, Akash. Right, let's move on to speak about the next man. De Ligt, which for me, if I was to guess at this particular stage, which one would be more likely to be signed? Would it be Brantwaite or would it be De Ligt? I would definitely say De Ligt. Right? I always find it a little bit, not a little bit weird, but you know how managers always, when it comes to any player who gets linked in a transfer and he's asked by the press, typically, Erik ten Hag or any manager would go, nah, I don't know anything about that. I'm not going to speak about that player. He's a player for another club. He's on the contract, but blah, 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 blah. Anyway. Ten Hag spoke about De Ligt directly in quite an extensive interview, actually, with a Dutch outlet, which I might cover for my lunchtime video, because he spoke about Ralf Rangnick's comments on the open heart surgery, selfish players, transfers, the new structure, Jadon Sancho, and lots of other stuff, actually. So there's probably quite a few things you may have missed out on. But Ten Hag's saying that he wanted to sign him a couple of years ago, And believe it or not, his name did not come from me in the process. So actually Ten Hag is saying that it was not him who's been pushing forward De Ligt. Don't know. And Uli Hoeneß was I think the former president of Bayern Munich, saying that it's possible he leaves. De Ligt is Dutch. The coach of United is Dutch. I would have no problem if he stays. But it feels like Bayern are kind of sitting there and waiting for United to come in for De Ligt because they want to sign Jonathan Tah. That's what they want to do this summer. Feel a sneeze coming. Woo! Got it. Anyway, there's a lot of noise around it. Seemingly, Bayern Munich want to sell him. And Man United want him. But I think the De Ligt situation, if you go over to the linked whiteboard, you can see he's right there at the top with Leny Yoro. We've already signed Leny Yoro. We've also signed Xerxes. I'm going to keep those on the board because these are just the players that we've been linked with. You can see there's a couple of new names on there. There's Zubimendi, there's Rios. There's probably some more that I've missed as well. Thank you very much, Schwab. Bless you. Anyone else say bless you to random people? You're walking down the street, you just go, bless you. I'll do it anyway. It's a bit weird. Probably should have muted my mic for that one. But I didn't think that De Ligt would happen. I thought it was De Ligt or Yoro, but it really, really seems that Manchester United could well sign both of them. However, I think that one is sales dependent. And then we move on to midfield. And there's a lot of midfielders we're about to have a conversation about. Ugarte is easily the most advanced at this point, right? This was 4 days ago now, right? Manchester United have agreed personal terms for Ugarte. And I'll be honest, there hasn't really been too much of an update since. Fabrizio here with pretty much a non-update. He's already said yes. Negotiations are still ongoing. The talks are still happening. So it's a non-update there on Ugarte, and that's kind of the situation we currently are in. He definitely is the most advanced of any midfielder that we've been linked with. Now, I've done a video previously on Ugarte where I ran through all the pros of signing him and all the cons of signing him. And there are pros and there are cons. I don't think he's a perfect signing, and I don't really think there are many perfect signings. But Zubimendi is another player who's been linked with us since. In fact, if you look at this may well advance anything to do with Ugarte. João Neves, PSG have put their bid forward. Benfica's president has already confirmed it. Not how much it is, but we know what the PSG want. They want to sign João Neves and sell Ugarte. And maybe any conversations around Jadon Sancho could well accelerate not accelerate, but make it easier to have conversation with PSG. Don't really know. Rocker, what are you saying, dude? Thanks always for the very great videos and live shows. Thank you very much, dude. Fabrizio Romano linked us to Dani Olmo. What are your thoughts? Way too much. Way too much. So it's a mute conversation. I think it's about 60 million euros his release clause, isn't it? Kind of stinks of a Man City signing, doesn't it? That's kind of how I look at him. But if you're looking at Ugarte, right, as your defensive midfield destroyer, then you're looking at Zubimendi as a very different profile. And this is where it gets kind of interesting in terms of how you see football. As to whether you would think, I might put this down as a poll, actually. Who would you choose? Who would you choose? Zubimendi or Ugarte? Because two very different types of players, all right? We've been linked with Zubimendi over the weekend. I think it's from the Manchester Evening News. I think it's from a couple of other places. Zubimendi is, let's have a look how old he is. Got on the board. He is 25. And again, you can look at pretty much every player that we are linked with this summer. Not every single one we're linked with, but the overwhelming majority. 25 is basically the top age, it seems, that we're going for. De Ligt is 24. Ugarte is 22. Xerxes, 22. Yoro is 18. And Zubimendi. Keith saying both. Hey, in an ideal world, Genuinely, in an ideal world, United would sign both. In an ideal world, we go over here to the leaving board and we'd say, right, well, Casemiro will be leaving. All 4 midfielders right there, I think, could leave Manchester United and we would be able to cope with it next season. Hannibal, I don't think we'd miss him at all. Christian Eriksen, I think we would miss in certain games, but I think we'd be able to replace him. Toby Collier is not in the same profile as Christian Eriksen, but I don't think we'd miss him enough to keep him. And the same goes to Casemiro. I think Casemiro out and Ugarte in. There you go, right? And then Scott McTominay. You need to replace his goals, but I think you would replace his... Joshua Zirkzee should be able to score some of the goals that Scott McTominay done. I think we would be able to really replace Scott McTominay. So let's find out what goes on here. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. I feel like, ladies and gents, I really feel like we've got another busy week coming up. Last week was madness. Absolute madness. Someone's saying down there, apparently Collier's staying in the first team next season. Mate, you can see that he should be. It's not always just about bringing through academy players for the sake of bringing through academy players. It's all about pathways. As much as it is important, if you're a really talented player, they'll always find their way through. They will make sure that they get into that first team. But pathways are important too. It's why I think Harry and Matt has got such an opportunity. It's why I think Toby Collier can have a spot in that squad. As I said, going back to this board there, Hannibal, Eriksen, Casemiro and McTominay leaving seems like an outrageous amount of midfield overhaul, but Ugarte could be one. And maybe likely will be one. At this moment in time, he's certainly looking like the most likely central midfield signing, but there are other signings that we could make. I'm going to go down and read some of your comments out here. Ugarte and Rios would be solid. I'm going to speak about Rios next. I'm worried about Sales, says Gally down there. I'm worried as well, man. I've been worried about them since the start of the window. I think Sales have to be where United, as much as it's 50-50, I'll be totally honest. They're both equally as important. Man United just becoming much better in terms of signings and the players that we're signing was a significantly important part of this window. But also United nailing it with sales. That's where we need to get growth with how much better we are with signings. And I think we have seen growth. And we have to get a lot better with sales. And Greenwood I think was a good deal overall. Although apparently Getafe are going to get 20%. And I think that's kind of understandable considering the value of Greenwood before he left for Getafe and the value of Greenwood now he's had a good season at Getafe and he became their player of the season. I'm going to go down to the poll here and I'm seeing there's 1,000 votes in and 65% of you are saying Ugarte and 35% of you are saying Zubimendi. And I'll be honest, I think I'm in that 65%. Zubimendi is somebody who would be a little bit more like the Frankie de Jong type player that I think we probably really needed 2 years ago. That profile of a deeper lying playmaker. But I don't know. I want more aggression. I know it only goes so far. Like Hannibal's got aggression, but what's the point in aggression if you can't control it? I think having an absolute defensive midfield destroyer, which would I prioritize? Playmaking ability from deep, or I mean, it's not to say that Zubimendi can't be an actual defensive midfielder and defend because he can do that too. But probably I would go for Ugarte, just out of the two. Man, jeez, wow. Gungshi, the main man himself. Let me get your statue. Well, it's not really a statue. You're the reason this whole thing started, Gungshi, man. Icon of the channel. Gifting 50 memberships on a Monday morning.
Leny.
That is a double celebration. That's a more than a double celebration. Can somebody drop the Discord link? In fact, I'll try and do it now. Somebody drop the Discord link. All of you, make sure you get on there. Really start doing some giveaways on Discord. Joe, we can make that happen, can't we? We've got some posters and stuff. We do some quizzes and, I don't know, quizzes and trivia, all that jazz. Everyone likes that. But look, let's move on to speak about this man. As I said, there's a lot to speak about this morning. A lot. Now, Richard Rios plays for Palmeiras out in Brazil, and he had a pretty strong Copa America with Colombia. I believe he started all 6 games. I think he scored in the quarterfinal. And Manchester United have been linked with him, right? Reports suggesting that Man United are preparing an offer of 17 million, right? And we go to where the reports come from. And it's come from Valentin Furlan. It's come from Goal Brazil, right? This is what's been reported. The Richard Rios, Man United have basically reached out. There's been an inquiry from United for Rios. And he's the latest name to get added onto the whiteboard there. You can see it. And I think, the first thing I was going to say there about this is, if that is correct, and again, these are the conversations that are happening, around 17 million, then it probably shouldn't surprise you that Manchester United are not going to be exercising the 20 million euros option for Sofyan Amrabat, which I will speak about in a little bit. There's still quite a bit we have to get through here. It's been a busy half an hour so far. Now, Rios, I've seen some of him. I need to do more research on him before I can have a full conversation about him. All right? But again, age profile-wise, probably more towards the older one. But I think if there's one market where all of you want Manchester United to be better in, it's probably going to be the South American market. I think it is for me anyway. I'm not sure if you all feel the same. But if you look at Benfica and the success that they have had over the last few years, obviously the Benfica have the ability to bring these players through far more than Manchester United do. You wouldn't be able to. Same with Brighton, for example. Although we should definitely have taken Moises Caicedo, perfect example. There are so many opportunities. And you look at what Real Madrid have done with Endrick and what Real Madrid did with Rodrigo and what, although it's a bit weird, Barcelona signed him, was it Vitor Roque? And then they've hardly even played him at all. And they spent a lot of money on him. Let's watch what happens with this Rios situation. If somebody's asking for me to do a scouting video on him already, I'm going to wait on that one. I think it would be a little bit interesting. Too interesting. Not wrong words. Don't know why I've said interesting. It'll be a little bit jumping too soon to be doing a scouting, like an in-depth scouting. Let's see if this actually gets corroborated from the likes of David Ornstein, James Ducker, from the English press. But this price here, right? I guarantee you, I can say this with 100% confidence, that there is a midfielder somewhere in world football that Manchester United can sign for 20 million pounds that would do a very good job for us in midfield. And maybe Richard Rios is that guy, right? Maybe it's somebody else. Either way, this is Manchester United's data and scouts. It's not, look, some people said that is I think there are bigger problems than the actual data that United have got. The problem that we've had is the interpretation of the data. We've now got Christopher Vivell, and this would probably feel more like a Christopher Vivell signing than anything else. And maybe this is just him doing the inquiries. He's having a look at Copa America. He's going, was there anybody inside Copa America who played in these key positions where Man United needs strengthening? And that in itself, it wouldn't even be the most difficult bit of scouting in the world, would it? Because you just look at the Copa America, you just look at all the midfielders that played there. Okay, how much is he worth? Maybe. Opportunity. And that's what we need to find. Opportunities. Leny Yoro was, it was an opportunity, but it was an expensive opportunity. It was a top-level opportunity. There may be players like Richard Rios that are a little bit under the radar that might not work out, right? No guarantee it works out. Yeah, but if it does, you've unearthed somebody. And that's what I want to be seeing over the next few years is Manchester United unearthing some gems. Curveballs. Javier Hernandez. Perfect example of that sort of signing. I think we signed him from Guadalajara just before the World Cup. He goes to the World Cup with Mexico, nails it at the World Cup, comes to United, boots the ball in his own face, scores in his first game against Chelsea. And I loved Hernandez. I think we signed Hernandez for around about that amount. Let me see if I'm right. I think it was around about 17 mil. Man United sign Javier Hernandez. How much? How much? Well, give me a price, man. Stupid website. Undisclosed fee. Well, I suppose we'll never know then. Anyway, yeah, it was from Guadalajara. And maybe it wasn't even 17 mil. Anyway, the point still stands. Manchester United can sign gems, but we have to find them. And again, one more time, we take a look at this and we look at the leaving board. Hannibal and Eriksson leaving, you should be able to get somewhere probably around 17 million combined. Apparently, Hernandez was a lot cheaper. Man. And imagine the team that we signed him into as well. We were like title contending. So there was pressure on him. But we found him. And I'm telling you, whether it's Richard Rios or somebody else, over these next few years, these are definitely some of the signings I'm going to be most excited about. Unearthing gems. Finding players and creating stars. That's what Manchester United can do as a platform. I'm going to go down here and read a couple of your comments, and then there's a super chat here from Akash as well. What are you saying, Akash? I've seen Rios at the Copa America. He's excellent in winning the ball back and has a very good pass completion rate. He's a better overall footballer than Ugarte as a 6 and 17 mil is a Barjan. Well, there you go. Akash is the scout of United People's TV. So, got to sign him now. Sigmund, I see you there gifting a couple of memberships, dude. Thank you very much, man. Nice to see you. Man, that header at Stoke. Everyone type in the comments, what was your favourite Javier Hernandez goal? I did love the fact that he just booted the ball in his face against Chelsea. I really liked... Who was it? Was it Chelsea at Old Trafford when he scored after like 30 seconds? I think it was a title contender game. That was a big one. Stoke header was unreal. The backwards flick. He scored some pearlers, man. And I love the infectious attitude of Hernandez. I'd love to get him on. Doesn't he do like gaming channel now? I swear he does. That's the same down here. Toby Collier could be the perfect partner for Manu, says Farmer. I don't know whether he'd come in and be a first team player, but I would probably say that he would be a squad member this season. And I think that'll be a perfect position for Toby Collier and going through. Let me see what you're saying about Hernandez. Backwards header versus Stoke. Oh, mate, the Villa comeback. He did score a hat-trick, didn't he? Man, was that a hat-trick from the bench as well? I think that was. Chelsea FA knockout goal. Chelsea at Old Trafford. He did love scoring goals against Chelsea, didn't he? Anyway, love Hernandez. But look, Richard Rios, we'll find out and we'll see what else is reported on him. As I said, I've covered this already. Man United aren't going to be exercising the buy option for Amrabat. But this is interesting. Doesn't mean that we're definitely not going to sign him. There's a suggestion here that Man United may well still sign Amrabat, but on different terms, rather than using the contract that was already agreed. So does that mean that Man United would offer less? Maybe. I think Fiorentina just... Didn't Fiorentina just sell their captain to Forest for like 12 mil? Milinkovic? I think it was. So maybe United looking at that. Maybe United looking at that. I don't know. But apparently we're not going to be signing Amrabat on those terms. Let's see. And Xavi Simons is another name that we've been linked with. Have I got him on the board? I'm sure I've got him on the board. He's over there, yeah. Underneath Rios, right? Simons has been a name that we're linked with, but you've got James Ducker who's sort of distancing us from both Simons and Adrian Rabiot. And I'm going to be pissed if we sign Rabiot. Because if we speak about the fact that it feels like a transfer policy is starting this summer, because it is. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like something new is starting. To then go and sign Rabiot would be a massive U-turn. Huge wages, older profile, would come with issues with his mother and the whole situation there. And I know he's a good footballer, but good footballers are good footballers if they don't have the baggage with them. Baggage is a problem. I would be pissed if we sign Rabiot. I'm totally honest, I would be annoyed. I think it would go completely against this whole, what feels like a strategy that we're seeing in front of us. Xavi Simons, I think, would make sense. If Man United, I think, if Manchester United, I don't think we'll be able to, by the way, but if United were able to sell Scott McTominay and sign Simons on loan, you'd definitely be replacing some of McTominay's goal threat. And also, you bring someone who's far better at a progressive style of football, playing through the midfield. You couldn't play through the midfield with McTominay there. It's just not part of his game. He's got real strengths elsewhere, but not with progression. And Rabiot, I really do hope we distance ourselves from him because I do not want to sign him. I think it would just be a bad signing. I think it's much better than we can do. JC saying, does Ten Hag have a veto on selling and buying? I believe he does. Remember, he only signed a contract extension. He didn't sign a new contract. Therefore, the veto's still there. And every manager should have a veto. No club should ever sign or sell a player that a manager doesn't say, yeah, right, cool. Because he's the one that's got to manage a team. He's the one that's got to get that team playing. If you undermine that manager and just sign players that they don't want, a.k.a. Fred and Mourinho, they're not going to play them. They're not going to get on. You're just wasting money. And then if you try and sell a player that a manager wants to keep, again, would be problems. You're undermining him. Yeah, Xavi Simons is just rumours, and you can see that on the board here, right? One sec. No, that one there. This is the latest in terms of, as far as I can see, the active transfers. Ugarte, of course, we've got personal terms. Same with De Ligt. Brantwaite, we've gone in with the second bid. Don't know whether the third bid's going to actually go in. But Tony, Calvert-Lewin, Simons, Zubimendi, Rios, all whispers at this stage, and nothing more. But it'll be interesting to see if any of them actually develop. And then we move on to probably quite an important part of the show, really. Jadon Sancho and PSG. Now, Sancho surprisingly came back into training. Was it last week? I think it was last week. Kind of out of nowhere, just boom. I think it was it the week before? Either way. Sancho came back. Erik ten Hag and Sancho sorted it out, shook each other's hands, apologised to each other, and they moved on. And Sancho played against Rangers. I thought Sancho was actually all right. I thought he was quite decent. I think Ahmed was significantly better. But maybe, hypothetical situation here. Maybe Ashworth and Ten Hag and Wilcox, and they all sat down and said, right, okay, so we know this Jadon Sancho situation isn't good, right? I think probably what is best is if you two clear the air now that the season has gone, it's done, all right? It's not going to impact last season, and we can move forward because it works better for Manchester United if Jadon Sancho is playing football, playing all right, and actually back in the shop window. And now we're seeing reports from France today, from Santiwana and Foot Mercato, right? We go down here, that PSG have made a contract proposal to Jadon Sancho, and that he's excited by the idea of potentially joining PSG, and that they're close to reaching an agreement. So we go back to the leaving board now, and you can see that Sancho is over there again on the, well, it's only at number 1. Right? It's just an interest at this point. It's still my preference that Jadon Sancho is sold. I believe I said this in my in my reaction to the news that he was staying. It surprised me. He's got so much that he needs to repair with the relationship with the United fans and with Erik ten Hag. Man United should be set. The only reason Man United have not sold Jadon Sancho so far is twofold. Number one, I really don't think there's been much interest in him. Dortmund came, oh yeah, we love you, Jadon, we love you. No, we're not going to pay for you though. If you sign him for free and a pack of biscuits, then yeah, we love you, Jadon. Oh, we're familiar with your game. Yeah, we're not going to pay for it though. And then Juve, it was only ever whispers. PSG, at this point, is probably going the furthest it has gone so far. Now, of course, because Man United are in conversations with Ugarte, maybe this came up. Maybe United kind of pushed it. I would like for Jadon Sancho to be sold this summer and for Manchester United to reinvest that money. I've always had that position. And I still stand by it. Let's find out. I'm going to see what you're saying down here in the comments. And yeah, the second issue, by the way, is, of course, the massive wages of Jadon Sancho. That contract we've got him on is hampering our ability to actually sell him. Carl, you think the clear the air was to increase the negotiating power to sell? It may well have been that. But I don't think Ten Hag would do that and then start him if it was just about that. I think, as far as Erik Ten Hag is concerned, he's genuinely looking at Jadon Sancho as, well, if he's going to be here next year, I need to maximise what I can get out of this player. So I think that's what Erik Ten Hag is now thinking. Anything else about selling him, he doesn't have to deal with anymore. That's for the structure to deal with. Ashworth, Wilcox, Vivell, Barada. You deal with all of that now. All I need to focus on with Sancho is, if he's going to stay, how can I maximise his ability? But if he leaves, I think it'll be good. I have seen the reports we've got a buyback clause in the Greenwood sale, but it doesn't matter because we're not buying him back. Just because we put it in the contract doesn't mean we're going to use it. We won't. We definitely won't. Could this be one of those PSR swaps? Maybe you could get creative. I don't even know if PSG need to do that. I don't know if their PSRs are fine. Anyone on wages over 200 grand a week, we will sell or loan out. Well, we've done that with Varane. We've done that with Martial. We could do that with Jadon Sancho. Been no conversation or whispers or anything about Marcus Rashford so far, and I don't really think there will be. I think if it was going to come from anywhere, it would have come from PSG. That's what I thought. But PSG, seemingly, interested in Jadon Sancho. I hope this one goes through, right? And that's just a personal opinion. I think Jadon Sancho had his opportunities at Manchester United. He made his bed. And I'd rather see others get opportunities ahead of Jadon Sancho get another one. That's my position on it. Let's find out. PSG getting linked heavily with him. Let's see if that develops, and I hope it does. And then on top of that, again, other transfers around it. Panathinaikos now getting linked with a move for Pellistri. Clearly, Pellistri doesn't have a future at Manchester United under Erik Ten Hag. There's no point arguing, oh, it's better than Antony this. Oh, better. It's not happening. It's not going to happen. There's enough evidence that we can now say with confidence that Pellistri's not going to make it at Manchester United under Erik Ten Hag. So what we should be doing is selling Pellistri on, having a buyback clause, having a sell-on clause, and then we move on. And he's getting linked with a move to Panathinaikos. I think he's better than Panathinaikos. Although moving to Greece would be... Greek diet. I think Mediterranean diet is probably the best in the world, isn't it? Grilled meats, fresh salads, bit of rice. I could eat that every day and never get bored. Tommy, what are you saying, sir? Jadon Sancho, or Solskjaer as you like to call him, needs to be gone. Sorry, but his attitude will never change. Every club he's played at, he's had to spend a fortune on nappies. He's a baby. Bit harsh. But yeah, my opinion on Sancho is quite clear. I think he's had his opportunities, and everybody deserves a second opportunity. I think he's already had his second opportunity, and I would rather see others get their first opportunity than him. Personal opinion. Akash, you got the UPTV t-shirt. Nice one, dude. Hope you like it. I hope you like the quality. There's a couple of people who have emailed. I'll be responding to those after the show today. It's been a busy few days, but there's been a couple of teething problems, but we'll get it sorted at the start. Yeah, Panathinaikos, a bit random. And in terms of other player sales, Erik Ten Hag is saying here that, you know, we want to keep him. And I think people probably look into what managers say a little bit too much sometimes. Scott McTominay, if the right offer comes in, Fulham, we know full well. We go back to this board here. Fulham, they had a bid around about 17 mil rejected for McTominay. We had a 30 million bid for McTominay last summer from West Ham. He's a better player, a more developed player than he was last summer. We've got 2 years left in his contract because we've got 1 year left, plus we've got the year we can extend. Therefore, 2 years, more than 30 million is what Scott McTominay is worth. And if we don't get that, then we keep him. And Scott McTominay will be an asset for United next season. It's just that if the right price comes in, I think we should sell him, and I think we could replace him from within. That's kind of where I stand on McTominay. I wouldn't push McTominay out the door. I definitely wouldn't. Mason Mount's a bit random. I don't know why it's even a story. Of course, we're not selling Mason Mount. I thought Mason Mount was all right, by the way. I think he's been all right in both games, actually. The annoying thing for Mason Mount is I think his probably best position is going to be where Bruno comes back in. So when Bruno's back in, what happens with Mason Mount? I don't really know that. Anyway, of course United aren't going to sell him. He had a whole season where he was injured, so this is basically his first season at the club, and we spent 60 mil. We're not going to be selling him. Now this one here, sorry. Got the Lurgy. Susie, give me Lurgy. Anyway, moan over. Antony's agent speaking about potentially him leaving Manchester United. I see reports about potential exit on loan. Antony's plan is clear. He wants to stay at United. Truth be told, I would like Man United to sell Antony this summer, but I don't think we'll be able to find a buyer. Not for the price that we would probably want to sell him. I mean, I don't even... Hypothetical situation here, right? Antony could be sold this summer. How much do you think we can actually get for him? We paid what? Was it 82 mil? I don't actually know what it was. I think it was around 80 mil, and I can't remember exactly what it was. But how much do you think Manchester United would need to be offered for Antony to sell him? Because like it's going to be a more extreme version of the Donny van der Beek situation. We signed him for 40 mil and we sold him for half a mil. We signed Antony for what? 70, 75 mil. How much could we sell him for? Akash, you're saying 40. Ashwin, 30. David, 20. Dudley, 15. We paid 85. No, Jesus, man. I'd be surprised if Man United were able to get 30 million for Antony. I think the age profile, there'll be a club that would be willing to sign him, but I don't think he's got that much value. So I think he stays at Manchester United this summer, but I don't really see where he's not. On that right wing, I'm putting Ahmad ahead of him. I'm putting Garnacho ahead of him. So he's third choice on the right wing. On the left wing, we've got Marcus Rashford. And if Sancho stays, we've got Sancho there. And if Sancho goes, well, you could put Ethan Williams on the right-hand side as well. Honestly, there's quite a few people I would put ahead of Antony. I thought it was all right in the first season, but the lack of development in that second season, the problems off the pitch, I would like Antony to be sold. The limitations are clear with this game now. If he was going to develop that right foot, cutting on the outside, you would have seen it last season. The wages aren't really an issue with Antony, not the same way they're an issue with Jadon Sancho, but I just don't think that anyone's going to pay the amount of money that Manchester United would want to sell him. That's the issue, and I think he'll stay. But, whoa, I did tell you that was a busy show. I ran through like 40 tabs there. Last couple of minutes, ask any questions or anything you want me to speak about a little bit more. But a quick summary and a roundup. Let's go through it. All right. Man, don't know, I just made a random noise there. Brantwaite, I don't think this deal is going to go any further. All right. So I think any move for Jarrad Branthwaite, just pretty much rule it out now. You've got De Ligt. I think this is probably the most likely centre-back signing past Jarrad Branthwaite, but I think we need sales first. And there's no real update on that one. Well, the update I gave you. Ugarte, personal terms were agreed 4 days ago. We're waiting for movement on that. And then we've been linked with the likes of Zubimendi. We've been linked with the likes of Rios and others too. Let's find out what happens. But I personally would expect this to be another busy week. Remember that the preseason, we fly out on Wednesday. We've got our first tour game on Sunday at 1 a.m. against Arsenal. We've got Xerxes, who's going to be coming into training this week. I don't quite know. He got to the semi-final with the Netherlands. I don't know how long they'll be off. But Sancho and PSG is definitely one to watch this week. Ugarte is one to watch this week. And De Ligt. And then any other sales around that. There's going to be plenty. I'm going to go down and read a few of your comments. Andrew saying, do you think we should go and try and get the Turkish left back? Is that Kadioglu? Kadioglu is certainly one of the most versatile players that we've been linked with. Can play like left back, right back. I think he played more than that as well. Could well be a smart signing. We'll see. Are you going to watch the USA games? I am going to watch the USA games. I'll be here with a match reaction after them. I'll be here complaining and moaning that I'm up at 3:30 in the morning doing a match reaction. But it is what it is. So many of you around the world, that's how you watch United. That must be exhausting. Rofi saying, which youth player could go through this season? Toby Collier is the standout one, but I actually already done a video on this. You can go and check the 6 names that I've mentioned. Harry Mass, Ethan Wheatley, Toby Collier, and 3 more. You can check that video. Who plays against Fulham, says Chicken Plays? Well, ask me in 2 weeks when we've signed another 2 or 3 players. There's no point answering that yet. Take it easy, everyone. That was a cracking Monday show. Thank you all for tuning in. Please do drop a like on the video. It makes a big, big difference to the community. And yeah, I'll be back with a lunchtime video as always. And maybe I'll be live again if there's other big breaking news. Take it easy.